Hello and a warm welcome back to the WenDirk Cast with me, Jimbo and Calvinator, the stream train man himself. We'll be discussing the latest MFL updates, transfers, developments, and so much more that has gone on over the last week or so. One important note before we kick off this episode: none of which has but as financial advice. Do your own scouting or hire a director of Metaverse Football. Calva, how are you doing? Are you doing well, my friend?
I'm doing well. Yes, it's hot summertime, but MFL is also getting hotter, right? So we have
hot and spicy.
A meetup, a lot of stuff happening, heated debates sometimes in the chat.
Yeah.
So enough to talk about, enough drama and things changing to cover. But yeah, people shouldn't get lost in the moment because the topic of today is also kind of looking forwards and plan a bit long term.
Yeah.
So I think it's like the summer is always a time, you chill a bit, but you also look forward next year, plan some stuff. So it's good to talk about that for your own agency and club and everything. So we're going to talk about that. But before, we have a lot of updates. And before that, we have a lot of other
I
stuff,
get to finally
like
ask you this
meetup.
question, Calva. How was the stream?
Yeah.
How was the stream? It's usually you asking me. How was the stream, Jim? Oh, no, Calva, how was the stream?
No, the stream was... Of course, it was a bit weird and stuff, It's like, kind of cheating when you a little bit. But it was the quiz went well. Laird was great, also as a co-host, as a special.
Yes, big thank you to Laird. Big thank you to Laird.
You. Yeah, it was really nice. We had some people opening packs like always. Went pretty smooth, so
that's good.
It was good. Yeah, there was no shirt changing.
I saw it.
There was a raffle.
Yeah, there was a raffle.
Oh, one change, I think.
There was one change, yeah. I managed to tune in for the first 15 minutes and then stayed around for about 3/4 of the quiz before I lost out on any data or any. So I was kind of just bugger. I was doing all right in the quiz. I think I was 6th at one point.
Yeah, so went some heads.
Went some heads. I initially had myself as Calva's hair, but then I got booted, so I had to rejoin as went some heads. But then I think I got a couple of packs. So I stayed around for about 40 minutes of it in the end, and it was really weird being the other side of the screen. And I was really enjoying the chaos of chat and just before the raffle starts, just chucking an exclamation mark raffle. Just try and bring a bit of chaos to the chat. So it's nice to be on the other end of it. But yeah, you and Laird did a great job. So another big thank you to Laird for hosting my co-host. I hope he behaved himself well, which I think you did. And the drop itself went pretty smoothly, right? In terms of
no problems, no hiccups. I think went pretty smooth. Of course, sometimes people have some bad luck on their side, or they just missed out, and those things can happen. But in general, it was very smooth from MFL side indeed.
That's the main thing.
Yes. So now in 6 when we record, 6 days, right? We have to meet up.
We have to. We've got no choice.
We have. It sounds weird. We have to meet up. There is the Paris meetup. I think there was a little Dutch translation there. But how do you feel about it?
I'm really, really, really excited for it. I think that's all I can say. I think it was. See, we now know what the venue and sort of
program.
And some of the program, which is very exciting. And we saw a few more bits of the program this week in our little private conversation, which I don't think some of those have been released, but they're very exciting. But yeah, no, I'm really, really excited for it. Just to meet everyone. I think that's meet all the community, meet other people who play MFL, chat to them in person with beers and drink, and meet the MFL team as well. So that's what I'm most looking forward to. And of course, we get to meet after 2 years of doing this, which I think is kind of crazy for most people.
It's really
never
cool
met
on one
before.
end, and also kind of weird on the other end, right? Like you know each other from this side, like everyone pretty much, the whole team, and also there's multiple video calls, and now in real life, So it's gonna be really fun, and we can finally prove this thing we always say, like real managers. Everyone is real. So we can finally verify this, that everyone is really real. Anything else before we start?
No,
right? I think
we've got all that housekeeping out of the way.
We can dive straight in. So, moment of the week. Do you have anything special thing?
Ooh, I was gonna say that something about the Wyverns, but actually it turns out that all three of my clubs got through to the knockouts, and they also got through to the quarterfinals from today's cup games. All of them won on penalties, which is quite possibly the most excruciating way to go through a knockout stage, especially when one of my games, it was your goalkeeper Silver, who you got to loan at Wyverns, who went up +1 this week, if you didn't see, by the way, as well. In the 90th minute, a cross came in, and he just ran straight past the ball, and they equalised, and I was raging so hard. I was like, the 92nd minute, a cross has come in, you've gone to collect it, and you've just ran past the ball. So I was really angry at that point, and I was playing Moonbats MFC, which is obviously managed by who we've had on the pod before, Big Daddy Eric, yeah.
Big Daddy Eric.
And so he was playing pretty well against me, to be fair. Went to penalties, and then your keeper saved the first two. I was like, all right, here we go. I gave him some stick, and now he's coming back, and he saved 2 penalties. And then the third and the fourth penalty, I missed those 2. So now we're back at square one again. And I went, oh no. And then your keeper saved the last one to win 3-2 or something along those lines. But so I've got all 3 teams to the quarterfinals, which is nice. Wyverns currently sat joint 2nd/3rd in bronze, which is quite nice. The Worms are currently sat top, or joint top. No, they're top by 1 point in the Ice League. They're projected like 7th. Not sure how we're really there, to be honest. The sad one is my Espartales, who are currently sat a nice 5 points at the bottom of their Iron League. But I think I said in the tweet, maybe last week, the week before, I didn't upgrade them from last season. If anything, they're weaker this season than they were last season. And because their second season in Iron, yeah. They just about survived in Iron. I didn't upgrade them. I downgraded them. And their strength creep. All 3 of those things combined together, probably not going to go so well. So I've just fully focused on the cup, and it's going pretty well for me so far. So I can imagine they're going to get relegated. I might offset and sell that club to bring another Norwich club, which is just more fun. The one that's around. But yeah, the main highlight is all 3 clubs are through to the quarterfinals of the cups. Yeah, nice little cup runs so far.
I literally want to say the same because I had 4 out of 5 progressing to the round 16. And all 4 of them also won their round 16 games, so 4 teams in the quarterfinals. So that's really happy with that performance.
Any on penalties?
And also, only one.
Oh, I saw quite a lot of people saying I went extra time on penalties for them. So I wondered if you had the same.
1 out of the 4.
Convincing.
But yeah, actually, speaking about rotating and prioritizing cup, at those stages, it's like such a huge amount of MFL. It almost feels crazy not to put your best lineup, maybe sacrifice 1 league game, but like especially for the Elite Cup with the Corsairs, that's almost 20,000 MFL you can win in 1 game by winning an extra game, kind of, but just going to the quarterfinals. And then I have 2 teams in contenders, and it's like 10,000 or something. So I got an extra 40k by just doing well in the cup, and even the next round, it's getting, there's like more, even better ROI on just, putting your strongest players and sacrificing the league a little bit. Although the Corsairs are now in the relegation zone, so it's a bit of a tight rope. I'm walking there. But yeah, good cup run and good revenue stream. That's kind of the summary.
I think I looked at my predicted earnings, and I'm at like 51k or something right now. But I'm not sure if the Metafixer Lab site, which does the projections for or estimated current rewards, takes into consideration. Or I think until your players hit 15 games, I think it automatically assumes that they're not going to hit their minimum contracts. So that's one thing to think about. But if I can get over 50k this year, I'll be buzzing for the 3 clubs. And yeah, so that's what I'm trying to do. I'd like to get 1 piece of silverware a year, but obviously that's only 6 opportunities with
it's not
2
easy,
clubs. No.
Sure. By the way, one fun fact: did you check MFL base?
I was going to say, do you want to know a fun fact from that?
I thought like that you were number 1 on there.
Wyverns have played the most competitive games in the whole of MFL, but that's
but I don't know. Are you number 1 because of the win rate combined with?
No. That one at that ranking one is pure. That because you can filter it by the different columns, so you can do it by win rate, this, that. By default, I think he's got it set to, like the games played. So I think the Wyverns have played like 503 games. Obviously, that includes all like the WenDirk Cups, all the other different additional cups. It includes those into it, I think.
I was trying to figure out what's his formula, like kind of wins with like games.
I think the matches played is done by every single cup that appears in your team's competition list at the bottom of your club page. And because the Wyverns have just been in everything, because I just chuck it with everything I can. They've played the most games in.
Oh, that's still a good record.
You'll never sing that, you know. Exactly. Yeah. So if you,
so you're number 1.
I'm number 1 in something. You know, there we go. Number 1 in something. What about you?
Also, I checked the head-to-head between us. Were you gonna say that?
No, but I did check this when it came out, and you probably know this off by heart now. Or you know it, so you can correct me. I think I've beaten you more times. Is it like 6 wins for me or something, 4 for you, something like that? Is it? Or is it worse?
Yeah, I forgot, but it was like something like 4-4-8 or something.
Oh, you stink, mate. You stink.
I think you are definitely in our head-to-heads. You're doing
the WenDirk bees. They've always come up on top.
Yes, you're doing. That's it's fun. So check out MFL base. Like, there's a lot of new tools popping up, which is really cool. So MFL base is. You can check those things like head-to-head between you and the other men.
I'm joint first in that Diamond League prediction, by the way. Yeah, awesome, and I missed a match day as well for it. I'm telling you, this diamond segment works. It helps. I'm gonna
exactly. Like, is this a surprise, or is it just because we talk so much about diamond that you should be first as the expert as talking about it? So
there's pressure both ways. If I don't, then. Well, if I don't come like top 3 or top 5, whatever, then it's embarrassment. But if I do, everyone goes, "Well, you just watch it anyway because you talk about it on the pod." It's not my problem.
Well, I'm very curious. Let's see. In 2 weeks, we know if you won that. Prediction.
I've jinxed it now anyway. Probably.
That's great. Okay, let's talk about dev updates. So, about the engine. So the new experimental engine has been released, so you can start testing. And there are the curved balls now, so depending on the type of shot and the power, players can now apply more or less spin to their pass and shots. Did you already see this? Checked it out?
No, I've not played a single. I've not played a single game on the experimental engine.
Okay, me neither, but I'm very curious about it. So we'll test it straight away after recording. And also left-right foot usage, very interesting. So players now perform better with their preferred foot and slightly less effectively when using their weaker foots. So it's getting more realistic. And in the new engine, there's also improved defensive and goalkeeper behavior. Very much needed.
We'll see about that.
On some feedback. Huge thanks to Quentin for these amazing improvements. But yeah, those 2 things sound really cool. Curveballs and also the left-right foot, a bit more realism. The offers... I think everyone has noticed this. There was also a little pop-up video when you went to the website. So the purchase offers, I should say, marketplace offers have been released. You can send and receive them, block them, set the minimum price, and you have this nice little tab. I think we also talked about it last time. The drop, we already said that no problems. It went exceptionally smoothly. 0 errors detected on our server, so that is really good.
That's good.
Photorealistic projects team has kept improving the workflow and our moderation, and we started to generate the images for the current players. Okay, is this a real update?
That sounds like a real update. We've got our first line in about 3-4 weeks, which sounds like there's been progress being made.
Real update. But this is now getting serious. We start to generate the images for the current players.
Do you think we get to see some of them at Paris? Maybe, I don't know.
I would think so. If there's one thing, if they're gonna do a little presentation and show some alpha and something, this would be there with new maybe UI or something like that. And also a question, because I think they talked about this kind of ethnicity, nationality. So with that in mind, would they then really change a lot of the players, how they look, based on that? That if you have a guy from, I don't know, although now with multicultural societies, a lot of countries, they can literally have everyone, but maybe for some countries they would change it based on, I don't know, population data or something. Or will they literally make everyone based on the cartoon images?
It could be maybe the current players are done on how they currently look, and then going, I don't.
Yeah, maybe the new.
Then going forward, they could make the changes. Yeah.
Yeah, curious to see how this goes. And then there was one final thing: the contract cancellation safeguard to prevent accidental contract cancellations by agents. We added an extra step to confirm the request. Maybe it is because of Duncan. I don't know. Did you read this? Like, he lost 2 guys, and we never know. We don't know really how that went from his team, but maybe that's because of that.
No, I didn't see it. I've not caught up much about MFL this week because obviously I've been away.
Yeah, you were gone, right?
I was gone. I was having beers
in Spain. Any other reactions to those things?
I have to have player on the experimental engine. I did see, I can't remember who it was now because I was away and sort of read the message rather than acknowledging who typed it. But about the weak foot, the left-right foot usage. Will a player try? Will they make decisions based on their preferred foot? So even if they're like in a really free position to cross with their weak foot, would they still like cut back and then put it in with their left foot? Will they still have that sort of, I guess, mindset? But they have put the impact and performance is very minor for the moment. So I imagine maybe is it more or less minor than height? That'd probably be a good thing to ask the question of.
Like what is the impact? How much is the impact?
I imagine it'd probably be equally.
And also tactically, like let's say you have those, like Robin cutting inside is one trick, cutting inside and
one
shooting
trick pony.
With his left foot. Like if I'm gonna put a left-footed player right wing, is he gonna do those kind of things then? Can you expect him?
Yeah.
And then can we in the future do this with player instructions? Kind of stay wide and cross, or cut inside and shoot. Or might be fun, I don't know. But it definitely paves the way for more options like that, because it matters apparently, right? There is a slight of impact.
Oh yeah, especially like corner takers, for example. In this dev update, you've got curveballs and then left-right foot usage. How many times do clubs just put, just say like Arsenal, for example, will put Saka on the corners for the in swinger with his left foot, and then say like Rice for the right foot, for example, because they want that in swinging curved corner. Sorry, you can say free kick as well with their strong foot. So, do we see a bit more of that in the decision making of managers, or is it a negligible impact that actually it's not really worth, say, dropping 3 passing stat to put a strong-footed player on X side of the pitch compared to having that, say, 93 passing on a guy who's it's the opposite side, but he just has a better passing stat. We don't know what that playoff is.
No, but and then maybe also then free kicks, maybe instead of red and left corners, also red, right and left indirect free kicks or direct free kicks, and then can use like different players with different stronger feet, kind of. Will be interesting to see if this is a starting point for more instructions, and both player and tactical team instructions. Then Diamond League, Diamond update. So you've been following it a lot, I guess, still with your predictions. Then,
what
the results?
I've not really followed it at all this week, but I just look at the team name and go, oh, I know how they perform or how good they are. So I know to just go bang. It's a bit like doing a Premier League prediction. You sort of know who's bad, who's not. And that's kind of helped by the fact you've got some, Diamond Heist teams in there. Makes predictions sometimes a little bit nicer. But
although there was one big upset, right? Sweet London beat Variance.
Yeah, probably the biggest upset of the season, really, isn't it?
Yeah. So one of the Diamond Heist teams beat a regular Diamond club, let's say. Yeah, but they both have now 3 points because I think Joga Bonito beat Sweet London in their direct Diamond Heist duel. So bottom, not surprising, 3 points. But looking at the top, what's also not surprising is Meta Mercenaries, 33 points, have not lost a game, 3 draws. So they are kind of back to... Yeah, it's not surprising, right? They are just kind of on a roll again, and it looks like they will win yet another league title. But then what is really interesting is this race for second place with a lot of the other kind of good teams, such as Own Legends, Bichon, Tango, Quito Bonito. So Sturge and Scrub, they were right. That's a very strong team. They're now 5th with 20 points, then Dio 20 points, and 19 BFC Barcelona. So within 5 points, all of those teams. So that's very interesting. Race for second place, and then the bit weaker teams that we also predicted. Roma 8, Variance 9th, Naples Goldfeathers 10th with 17, 15, 15. So I don't think it's that surprising, or is there any team you noticed?
No, I don't think it's particularly surprising. I think probably similar layout to how we would have expected to go. Maybe would say BFC Barcelona could probably be 2-3 places higher with how their squad strength is. But then if you say, if they would have just won one more game so far this season, they could be up at 4th spot. So it's still very tight between that 2nd to 7th spot, which is really exciting. So there's still a lot to play for.
Who's the best of the rest? That's the race. I don't see Mercenaries dropping.
No, they have not lost points. A game all season, so you expect them to still plough away.
Yes, and then there was one more thing I thought I wanted to highlight and talk about. It's the match MSC Roma against Naples Goldfeathers. I kind of want to talk about it because I think it tells a lot about the game, and it tells a lot about the community and people and how people approach the game. But yeah, you love 5 at the back, right, Jimbo?
No, I saw that bus in Spain with the number plate MFL on the back of it, and I was like, here's the 5 at the back managers with their bus getting ready to transport their way to the stadium before their game starts the second half of the season. I don't like playing 5 at the back. I don't like playing against it, quite frankly, because I don't have wing backs. But this game, and I'll let you speak about it in a second. If Naples Goldfeather would have scored, I had this prediction nailed on. And then I saw the result, and I saw the stats, and I went, I've been done bad here. I had this prediction all so sorted out. This prediction I had. I thought I was like, there's a 90% chance this ends 1-0, and it ended 1-0. But go on.
Yeah. So about the game, it ended 1-0. Roma won, kind of surprisingly, because is it surprise? That's the question. Is it a surprise? So there was only 0.5 xG, and they scored 1 goal with 1 shot on target. And Naples Goldfeathers had 1.4 xG, 3 shots on target. So, but then Frajoko said, this is a 5 at the back masterclass. He's from Italy. Italians take a lot of pride in their, I would say, their organization and their defensive play, kind of the catenaccio. And Faraj said he set it up in this way to have kind of this perfect 5 at the back, kind of catenaccio style play with a counter. And it worked. He won 1-0. But then Hertha was not very happy with it, and he said, it's a joke. We're talking about an investment of several $1,000s to achieve a result like this. And then I was a bit like, then you don't really understand MFL. You don't really understand how it works, and it's not just... Otherwise, Man United would also be very good if it's about how much money you throw at the transfer market or how much money you put in the game. It's also about tactical skill, and this is not even the biggest upset. This is just a very regular...
Yeah, I don't think this stat line and the teams being used and the formations being used, that's not an uncommon stat line to see for that result. No. It just looks worse because it's 1 shot on target, 1 goal. if that's 6 shots on target, or if that's 6 shots from Fraj and then 2 shots on target, you go, I've had double the amount of shots. But from looking at it from a purely stat point of view, we have no context around how this game actually performed. I've not gone and watched the 40-minute full 2D version. I doubt anyone has. I don't think it's that irregular of a stat line for this result. If there was double the amount of XG for Naples Gold, they had 3. They go, yeah, fair enough. Maybe you were really hard done by, but that's just the big V word, as Fraj calls it. Not varied, but just it's just unluckiness in this sense.
Yeah, it is unluckiness. It's like the variance, what they say, and it happens IRL too, right? These results are IRL, and you can play such a park the bus kind of game, and that can pay off. In we've seen numerous results IRL like that, and in MFL. Yeah, and just that Hertha thinks that just because he spent more money he should win. It's just ridiculous. What kind of game would it be? Then it's really going to be pay to win. So Hertha just wants pay to win, apparently. And this is something we don't want. We want also skill involved.
And there are quite a few managers out there who have spent a lot of time perfecting 1 or 2 formations. So, Fraj has played 5 at the back for a long time. People like Ronan have played 4-2-2, 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, I think is his other formation that he runs as well for a long time. I remember I played a guy, manager called Finn. He played 3-5-2 for the last 2 years. I thought I was pretty good with 3-5-2. I played him. He had a slightly worse team than me. Rinsed me every single game. I was like this, and then I've seen people go, "Oh, how is this guy beating me?" I've looked and it's him playing 3-5-2B. So I know there are managers out there who have literally perfected with their current club and setup particular formations. So, it's tough when those results happen. We've all been through them. But I'm a big believer that over the course of X amount of seasons, those sort of things equal themselves out and balance themselves out.
Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get unlucky,
but
plus there's also skill plays a role.
And maybe a bit of an unpopular opinion here, but if you're getting really angsty about like the amount of money you put in and how you're getting results, then I think you've put too much money in. And because you feel like everything's a risk and you're trying to detach and get away from that fun factor. If everything's but that maybe might be an unpopular opinion, but that's how I look at that anyway.
But that is the thing with Hertha also. Like, people were joking, okay, so just post that you will sell everything again, but still he doesn't sell. So he secretly enjoys it.
He's fake sold out 5 times or so now and again.
he cannot handle losing too much. So I think, but yeah, we just wanted to comment on that. I felt like in Diamond League, some Diamond League beef a little bit, and
Diamond League beef.
We have to talk about it a little bit. Okay, let's start talking about market moves. Actually, so much happened this week. I don't think we can discuss all of that, but we'll try. As new manager of the week, I picked a name I really liked, Overlap Chap. So he is from Cardiff, Wales. He got a spark club from Vietnam. Bought a couple players. He's really taking it easy, chill start. I can just sparkle up some players and try out the game. But I also picked him because it's a great name. And also, hopefully, soon we'll get more tactical instructions, like maybe overlapping that you can have. You can do that as like an instruction, whether it's an individual one or a team. But yeah, I'm just putting it out there.Maybe overlapping as an instruction. Could be cool. Then other market moves. I saw a huge youth premium sale, so swag.
We've seen a lot of those this week.
Yeah, he bought a 66 rated striker, 17-year-old for 110 from Shadow Champion. So that's a lot of youth premium. Actually, on stream, I pulled a 17-year-old 61 rated striker. But I decided...
What rating? What rating, sorry?
A 61, 17-year-old.
Oh, okay.
But I just want to let him progress. I think still at 21. After 4 seasons, he's still going to be super young. And maybe it's a progression wonder. Plus, speaking about long-term planning, I think it's great to have such players in the agency who can really replace strikers in the long term. So I'll let him progress. Another very interesting sale I saw was a rare player, Dan Lau. 81 rated striker, 26-year-old. He was bought by Trading Places for 500 USD.
Damn.
So then, Jimbo, you say probably that's a lot, right? But looking at the progression, he already had plus 21 progression. So it's a proper progression premium. And maybe this striker will still get, keeps progressing, keeps getting better. So that's what Trading Places is counting on. About legendary players, we had a crazy amount of big sales, all splash worthy. And that's because Profound Soda, we'll talk later about him, he had kind of a sale. But yeah, he's not a splash, and there were also some even bigger transfers, such as Sreten Nezovic. He was bought for 1,650 by Kinshu from Niako, so kind of a French transfer. So another great addition for Ryans. And speaking about Profound Soda, so he had kind of a sale of Legos, but he also sold his Platinum team. So Team 3 team is gone. I think it's a good riddance. It just hurt my eyes seeing this kind of protest meme name every time. So now finally it's gone. And the Snake has rebranded the team to MFC Platinum Papuans from Sao Paulo for 500 USD. Is that kind of a steal? I think it's kind of
probably, yeah,
low price, 500 USD for a Plat club.
Yeah, I know that Snake. I know that Snake also. I think he bought out someone's agency this week as well. So the bloke's clearly got like an eye for purchasing
for value,
for value, and also he likes annoying Palmer as well. So both of them come into the streams and they just give beef each other, which is quite funny. I get along with Snake quite well too. So
we can see. So about Profound, we could have picked tons of his players that were sold. But there's one special.
I've got a premium progression / youth progression to bring up first quickly.
Oh, okay.
It was a player bought by Something Balling for $300. I just want you to guess what this age and overall might be for a player bought for $300. That in their second season in MFL, so they're minted at 19. Their second season. They've already gone up +4. Do you want to have a guess how much a 72 rate? I've already told you how much it was. Why am I even doing that?
But I guess
I've gone the wrong way round here. I've gone too early.
Do you 300.
It's worth $300.
72. Now I think they're still young, like kind of 20, 21 then, right?
Yeah, he's 20 years old, 72 rated. He's gone up +4 in his second season, and they purchased him for $300. They played 9 games in their first season. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty crazy sale. It was around the time we had quite a lot of big premium ones, and even the guy who sold it, Brian, he messaged me and was like, "One for your splash of the week. Delighted with this sale." He said he's already reinvested in 3 players, so hopefully you're not going to regret it. There's a temptation to keep him in the watch list, but I've told him no, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yes. So the progression premium, the youth premium, combined, and you can kind of get such, kind of crazy sales. But I think it's smart that he does it, and there is no guarantee. It's like those investment advice. Like results from the past don't guarantee future returns or whatever it is exactly.
Yeah.
Same with progression. Maybe his crazy, unique progression path with a super early prime age. You never know.
Yeah.
With like super low levels first to reach next, with like XP needed for next levels. And
yeah.
You never know. So I think Brian made a good call. Smaller agency to sell that dude Brian. And reinvest in 4 or 5 other plays that can help you plus progress and build from there.
Yeah. But now moving on to this week's actual Splash of the Week. And I've realised in this Splash, Calvert, with the new offer system, it's going to make it extremely hard to try and find the definitive Splash of the Week. Because if they've come through the offers, unless we're looking through that sales bot and looking at that data there, I don't think they come up in the air table. I didn't see this one anyway, so it might be a bit hard. But anyway, Sid, pretty sure last week's splash of the week, and had a lot of sales last week too. Legendary players has done it again. He's done it again, purchasing Umbasane low, 91 rated for a whopping 2,000. No, 2,000. Sorry, I'm about to say
2,000 USD.
2,000 USD and 7 cents. The 7 cents was the big money maker, the big pushover. Yeah. 91 rated, 24 overall, triple position, left mid, centre forward, EU striker. So basically 2 position because centre forward is just naff. He's Senegalese, pace 91, shooting 95, passing 91, dribbling 97, defending 80, and physical 79. Being purchased by a name we've already mentioned a lot on the pod so far, or being sold by, FC Cincinnati, aka Profound Soda, as he is known in Discord. So congrats to him for the sale, congrats to Sid for the purchase. And I guess the first week of offers being involved in MFL, Cava, we have an offer being our first splash of the week. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, and I also just looked. He is 94 as centre forward and a 93 as a striker.
Oh, really? I was going to wonder, there must be something going on there because he's 95 shooting. Because I guess the dribbling and shooting are the key ones, especially for centre forward, isn't it?
Yeah, very good shooting. For left mid, he has crazy high shooting. Yeah, later more. I think maybe we can start our long-term planning with Profound Soda because he kind of made a call, kind of a long-term call, and he started to sell like crazy. But maybe we can talk a bit more about his case in a second. And the only little thing we have to talk about in terms of updates is some IRL, MFL, a lot of international youth tournaments. I wrote down, we both kind of want something.
Yeah.
It came home for England under 21.
It did.
Netherlands under 19. So we both have a good generation, I would say.
Did you watch your game? Because I watched England one yesterday. Did you watch?
Yeah, I watched a little bit. I think not everything.
Yeah.
This under 19.
I watched. It was a really good game, actually, between England and Germany. I think England were deserved winners, but also very lucky at the same time. It was the last minute of the first half. Germany at the crossbar, and then whilst still at 3-2, at the end of the second half, with 30 seconds left, they crashed the crossbar again, which was like, oh, bit lucky. But the setup we've got in England in terms of that squad is ridiculous. And you've got players like Harvey Elliott in there, for example, who have played a lot of caps for Liverpool already, very experienced player. Players like James McAtee, who didn't want to go with Man City to the Club World Cup, would rather play for England 21s. Got some really, really top-class players in there. And I think there was, that's back-to-back Euros. It is back-to-back Euros for England 21s, which I think is pretty crazy considering I think maybe 2 players were the same. Just a completely new cohort of players. So, credit to those boys. And obviously as well, the winning goal was from an ex-Norwich player too. So, all you Marseille fans who don't like him, even though it's more deserved he doesn't like him. I'm happy for him. I feel he's a bit of a scummer still. But big result for England and Netherlands under 19 champions.
It can come home. Kind of should be motivated. It's possible. And there's another little thing. I just thought I was just reading some Dutch football news. I found like an IRL progression premium, youth premium, that Brentford is buying Milambo from Feyenoord for €20 million plus 5 million in bonuses if he plays a lot and he's 20 years old. Quite a lot, but I think they also bank on, that he has a lot of progression kind of, and he will get much better. But I think Brentford is pretty good.
Brentford's a good, Brentford are a good side for scouting, and I guess I was looking at some of their sales over the last year. They've clearly got the finance to do it as well, selling Ivan Toney, being one of them. And I can't remember if Norgard's confirmed gone to Arsenal or not yet. Obviously the whole bit about Mbeumo, but they've got they're sort of, I'm going to say underrated team in the Prem. I think they're correctly rated, but they're still just a good team to go to, especially for progression. I'd say either those, Brentford, or if you're a young player in the Prem, Brentford or Brighton are probably one of the clubs you want to go to. You could argue Crystal Palace the last couple of years, but Brentford and Brighton are probably one of the two clubs you want to go to for progression.
Yeah.
And they're usually quite good at buying a player, and they then actually start playing well in like 2 years' time. It's all like buy a bit, might learn him out for a season or so, and then in 2-3 years' time, when they need him as a player, he's up to speed and ready to be used in the Prem.
Yeah, they are the perfect clubs in terms of long-term planning, I think. Maybe that's also why I highlighted this one. Like they
like data as well.
Yeah, they use data. They kind of look at. Well, they cannot measure progression that much IRL, but they really have a lot of data. Do amazing scouting in Netherlands, Scandinavia. Get those guys in, and sell them, and then keep growing like that. So they have a very good policy, a bit like Moneyball, kind of, you could say in some way. So Brighton, Brentford, they're leading the way. So let's talk how you can do the same, but in an MFL. So we're gonna talk about long-term planning. I think this is getting more and more kind of important because mass retirement is getting closer. Retirement in general, each season now players are retiring, but the first big cohort retiring, that moment is also gonna come soon. For example, there are 7 ultimates that are 29 or older, so they could announce their retirement any season. Like technically, all of them could be gone within 3 seasons, and that will really hurt the big boys. But also on a lower level, with your own agencies and teams, this could happen if you have older players. So how to plan for this? And speaking about long-term planning, so Profound Soda, he started selling like crazy. He said, "I'm done in platinum." It got maybe too hot, too, let's say, competitive for him. I don't know exactly why. Did you read more about this whole?
I'm pretty honest. I didn't read much about it. I saw the ends of this conversation, and I had to keep like clicking at people's responses to his message to try and find whereabouts they were quickly, rather than just scroll up the whole thing on the bus journeys I had. But yeah, I think it was a bit of the,
Yeah, he had a bit of He just said, "I'm done the platinum," and he started selling Legos, and he said like he thinks the Lego prices will drop a lot, so it's better to sell them now. But yeah, I think a lot of the people didn't really agree with his analysis of both platinum and his own agency and his decision. But yeah, that is his long-term planning. That's what he made quite a radical call, and he still has teams in bronze and still some Legos. So, well, that's his decision. I think I felt a bit, I don't know how I felt about this decision, but Brandon, a friend of the show, I sold my 89 rated center back to him for 300 USD. Actually, I talked to ChatGPT about this. Like, is this smart? ChatGPT said it's pretty smart to cash, and then I don't think I can earn the amount of MFL back by even if I. Like maybe only if he reaches 42. Plus, I can replace him in my Corsairs team because I have a lot of legendary center backs.
Mm.
So my team is not gonna hurt. I get money, and with that money, I can buy. Actually, I bought a 21 from the Snake, 21-year-old goalie, 84.
You love a goalkeeper.
Yeah. So now I have a better goalie who can grow into legendary goalies. Goalies are pretty special, especially legendary goalies. So yeah, that's a bit like my decision. So that's an example of long-term planning I did. So it's a present case, I think, is important for everyone, and it also makes MFL really fun, right? That we have this challenge ahead of us. So it's like kind of the first time we are in this situation, and I think then it will become normal. But this is the first time we have retirement. It's going to hit us very hard, I think, at some point. And we have to start planning for that. And then it becomes normal, and then we're fully in kind of sustainable mode. So I thought it's good to talk about this. And I've kind of, taken different perspectives in terms of planning. So first from a club perspective, then an agency perspective, a sustainability, and of course the most fun one, a profit of financial gain perspective. So let's start with the club, and let's use you as the guinea pig. So how is Wensum preparing for the future long term?
So yeah, obviously the Wyverns will be the one team that out of the three that I've got will all my sort of, I guess, resources and times and effort goes into them. The other two teams are just like trickle downs off the back of that. It is something that's constantly in the back of my head about the Wyverns and how they'll be in X amount of years' time. I've never really up until this point heavily considered the age of the player, because, you know, a lot of them, you know, have been aging for 5 years or so before season 1 started. Didn't really have any players in the Wyverns who were like 28 or 27, so I'm fine in that sense. You know, my oldest players at the moment that I own are 31 and 29, neither of which have the 31's my oldest, and then my next oldest that I own is 27. The 31-year doesn't have the retirement thing on, unfortunately. But I think the boat that I'm in is that because I loan in a good 4 or 5 players a season, it's less for me to think about when squad planning, because I know the players I have to loan in, I do not care what age they are. It doesn't concern me at all. I want them for one season, not for them for X amount of years. So, but my planning has been the last couple of seasons has been to start building up finances for when those retirements of my players happen. So, for example, like last year, I probably sold most of my reward packs, and I haven't put anything with them yet. To try and, when I need to buy players, I will buy them. If I see a player on the market who is 27 years old and fits my team really well, but I have 7 other players who are 27, I just won't buy them, because I don't want that stress of having to deal with how that happens. I treat most of my players like they're going to retire at 32 or 33, worst case scenario.
Well, that's already a good first perspective or tip. You can just treat them like they're all gonna retire early, and then the rest is bonus.
Yeah,
kind of, if they keep. That's a good perspective.
And the one thing I should probably be doing more of is, and maybe this might talk about it more later, is I never really calculate how, like, the projected earnings for a particular player over their lifetime to, like, justify, you know, owning that player, justify buying a player for that price, justify him being in the Wyverns being compared to loaned out somewhere else. Which probably something I need to do more of, if I'm completely honest, but I didn't have the time or the effort to right now. But it's still at the back of my mind, the squad perspective of long-term planning. However, I guess, like other animals, are in a fortunate position where I haven't needed to buy any players currently.
Yeah. So you're starting to.
I'm starting to think about it more now.
The pressure.
And I guess come back to earlier, the benefit I've got is that I loan in 4 or 5 players a season. Therefore, that's half the amount of players to think about long-term planning for. I quite like that balance of, like, you know, just less than half loaning in and owning the other half, because you almost just get to pick the players each season, like draft them in. I'll have you this season. Obviously, the downside is your players are different most seasons, so you constantly have to
lose some revenue.
Use some revenue, and from a tactical point of view, you have to change your setup each season. Sometimes it works, and it works 3-4 seasons in a row. Sometimes, like last season, it goes absolute Pete Tong. It doesn't work at all. So yeah, then the second and third team, they just trickle down from that. But it's why I just write a tight agency though.
But it's also interesting. You said you sell your packs and then you have a fund, a budget to spend, kind of when you need it, on replacement of the market.
Yeah, I'm very disciplined in purchasing players, and I think that shows by the fact I didn't realize there was a price filter on the marketplace until like 3 weeks ago. That shows how much I buy on the marketplace. It's literally like once every 2-3 months I buy a player. I only buy when I need to buy a player, not because I want a player. Because I know this. If I buy a player when I want them rather than I need them, it'll just kick me in the arse in like 6 seasons time. I'm very strict with it. I'm very strict with it.
But also, like, I think some people might say, okay, I'm just gonna rip all my packs, and then I have like a new talent pool, and then maybe there is some that can eventually become a wyvern kind of, and the other, maybe one is a progression wonder I can sell for the fund, and that's maybe another approach. Instead of letting that money sit in the bank, kind of, right? You can also say, okay, we're just gonna open all those lottery tickets and players and see.
I mean, maybe when some more of my players start retiring, and I've got like 10 positions, 8 positions I need to fill, I might do that. But if I only right now, the players I need to own for myself: CDM, left mid, centre back, and goalkeeper. Now, if I get, realistically, bronze is not good enough for. It's too good for it. Bronze is too high division for uncommon. Removes ripping those packs open. I've not got the time to let those players, become developed in Brentford or Brighton. I need those players now. And if I open a reward pack and suddenly I've got, left wing back, or I've got, strikers, which I have quite a few of, then I'm going to be like, I've now got to sell that. So, which, I could still probably get more value than they're going to have good value for it. But I like being in control of the things I can control and opening a pack. Yes, I love doing it during the pack drops, but which you could argue is, which I love doing it during the pack drops. But from the reward point of view, I like controlling what I can control.
Yeah. No, there's a lot like, it's interesting. I think I'm a bit more so for my own, like I do sell some packs, but I also buy a lot of this players that I think in the future might grow, like progress 5, 4, 6 overall, and that they eventually will be good enough for the Corsairs. So I just sell players, and then with the budget, I already straight away buy just like lower rares that might eventually turn into a Corsair. I think that is my way of approaching this. That's like now that goalie I bought. Like I know I have 27 and a 30-year-old. I know I need a younger and better goalie, so I invest in this 84, 21-year-old guy. And then I know the center back, I could replace it with another center back I have. So it's like investing in younger, a bit worse players, but knowing that a couple of them will eventually turn, and then you get kind of a bit sustainability like that, I think. But that's, I don't know what is. I think a lot of different approaches work, right? That can work for each club.
Yeah, a question I got for you, covered. When you're buying players, how much do you think about the age of a player? And I know you said today that you will buy a player in hopes that they will progress more.
Yes.
But do you actively think about, if I buy 10, 24-year-olds, there's possibility that all 10 of them retire within a 3-year within 3 years of each other, and you've got to then suddenly within 3 seasons replace 10 players? Or is that something are you kicking the can down the line a bit with that?
Yeah, well, that's a little bit what I'm doing, but I think if you can keep doing it, you can keep it up. But it's just like right now, what I've been doing over the past 2 seasons is just buying 22, 23, 24-year-old rares. And then there's like, or they already have a history of progression, or they're totally fresh. So they're like pools from other people. So I kind of take their reward pack kind of in some way. So they need to be or fresh, 23, 24, or already have showed a history of progression. And then, I am kicking the can down the road a little bit. But that's just, trying to sell the older guys and plus rewards, plus with the money you get, try to buy younger guys. I think that's the most basic tactic people have. Plus sell, then sometimes do the progression harvesting, what I did with this Hidalgo or with Singh. Just when they get, you can kind of replace them with another guy, you could keep them and they could grow into even a better legendary, but maybe it's better to take that money and then reinvest with that again. So, and then all with the eye of eventually keeping a decent squad for the Corsairs. For the flagship team, what you also do, kind of flagship team, and then the rest goes to the lower teams. So I think from a squad point of view, that is how I approach it. Right. Yeah. What about agents? Let's move to agent. We're both not really... Of course, we're all agents, but if you have a bit more loaning out agency perspective, I think the biggest question is just... Are you going to sell players or are you going to keep them and kind of milk them until the end for as much MFL as possible?
Yeah, because I guess
what is like a smart
What's
point?
Quite nice here is that we have quite two contrasting agencies. Where your age, how many players have you got? Top of your head?
Around 300, like 280 something.
Yeah, so your agency is about 4 times the size of mine. So this could be quite interesting where our approaches are on it. With my 3 clubs and about 80 players, I'm kind of the mindset of if I'm not using a player and they're sort of, like 70 rated and below, and I know I don't need them for 3-4 seasons, I'm more inclined to just sell them rather than sort of hope on progression or hope they become a player that I want. Yes, I do enjoy following all the players I've got loaned out, but I also enjoy completely owning all the players for most of my clubs that I have. And I guess with you have you own a lot of players. You also own 5 clubs now, 6 clubs, more.
No, 5.
5 clubs. Yeah, you went up, but then up, and then down, and you came down, back down again. Yeah. So do you may even have more players loaned out than players, like contracted to your own clubs, right?
I also have the super lean squads, so it's like 18 times 5.
Yeah.
So that's way more loaned out.
So I guess, and you've got a lot of how many players that you own do you loan out that are like, let's just call it MFL income worthy, where it's like your high uncommons upwards? Because in my opinion, if a player's like 60 rated and below, and with my agency of like mainly uncommons and 10, 11 rares or so, I'm not too bothered about the difference between like 2% and 3%. I'm more bothered about if they get X amount of games for minimum games or so. But how many of your players that you loaned out do you have that are on like, there's a fucking fly? Sorry, there's a fly, folks. And I want to open the window to let the fly out, but I never open the window. More will come in. So I'm in a really tricky predicament where I have to sit here and pade through this fly that occasionally likes flying on Calver's forehead on my screen and also my forehead on my screen.
It's like it's a Breaking Bad episode, but that's all.
Yeah.
With the fly. But your question is about like how to... Yeah, like how do you manage that, or how do you... With percentages, I guess, and ref share. And
I guess because... I couldn't keep asking questions. Let's get back to topic actually about long-term planning, not about all that sort of stuff. But
no, but it is also for me right now, like this question about being an agent, loaning out tons of guys. Do you try to get as much MFL out of them and let them retire, or can you try to sell that? And I should also be probably doing a bit better with that and maybe make a bit more calculations. But with this legendary, I just made a calculation. Like, if he plays, on average, he retires 35, 36, because he's an older mint. If I load him out for like 5%, I think, to a gold club, I could get, I don't know, like maybe 6, 7k per season, times 6 is like 42. With current MFL conversion, that's never near 300 USD. So I'm just going to sell him. But you should try to maybe apply that whole logic to literally everyone in your agency. But there's like a lot of work, or you need to be way more organized with spreadsheets. But then you also have the progression, of course. That piece. So I need to be a bit better with that, but I try just to get with everyone as much MFL out of them as possible by putting them first on auto-accept with clauses, and the clause incentivizes people to play them, and the base rev share is also high enough to already cover, kind of make it sustainable enough, I think.
Yeah.
And then I just try to loan everyone out, and sometimes I want to say culling. How do you say it? Culling, right? In English.
Yeah.
Culling the herd a little bit, try to get rid of all the seniors, because I think that's you could then still get more money than what you could get back in MFL. So I sometimes do that and repeat.
Yeah,
but I could be planning a bit better myself, and it could be a bit more, put a bit more scrutiny into.
I think for everyone, until we see the mass players retiring, it's on no one's front of mind. I'm just looking at the current distribution of ages, and the age with the most players and currently is a 25-year-olds with 22,558. So a lot of players. That's just a bit of quick maths here. That's about 12% of all players are 25 or so right now. Just say something like that. 12%, 13% or so. Maybe even more than that, actually. Sorry. It might be like 18%. Oh, well, 18%. Just say 15 to 18% of players are currently 25. If we make the assumption, and obviously those could be a combination of older retirement on average age to new ones. So let's just take 35 to be safe here. And minus 25 their age, which is 10. So 50% of that cohort, I think my math checks out here, 50% of that cohort of 22,000 of, to say 12,000, 11,000, will retire by season 10. Have I done maths right? No, 10 seasons from
10.
Now. Sorry, season 16.
Like 15 or
they'll go in
16.
season 16. Yeah. So that's because obviously 50% will retire at 35 or 36 or whatever it is, because that's how the distribution works. But we won't see mass retirements now. Over 1,000 might be, or over 5,000 will probably happen when 35 minus 27, 8 seasons from now, season 14, and we start seeing like 5,000 players from then on going every season.
Yes.
On
and that's like average. IRL in like a year.
Yeah, it's basically a year's time. Yeah,
season times let's say a year.
But that's
so people have like a year, but I think you should start planning already for that, right?
I think I've occasionally said it either on the pod or just on streams or whatever. Like I sometimes have bought players who are like 25 years old because I go, if they retire at 32, that's 7 seasons. That's nearly a full year. So a lot of my mind is how long have I got with this player, like time wise, because then that gives me enough time to plan. My worst case scenario is half of my agency retires at the same time, and I'm absolutely fucked, basically. Obviously, the quickest way to avoid that is just to not even let them get to a point where they retire, Jimbo. Just sell them, which some of them I do.
Yeah, well, that's the question, right? What do you do? Do you just... You have like a maximum age in your agency, like you reach 32, you're out. Or you reach 29, you're out. And you try to kind of keep this loop going.
This is such a hard conversation to have because it's so difficult to say I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And because we don't know. We just don't know. It's
No, there's so many unknowns. But yeah, you see the strategies playing out now. You see some people... I forgot who it was. I think Nathan also. The Sweet London. I think he was buying a lot of older legendaries. Also, Big Wilbert has been kind of snapping up some older legendaries, and they see a lot of value in them because they are good players, can make a difference and can get you way more MFL if you can, beat the opponent and higher in the league. You can get more MFL. So we should also see it as assets that can, especially in the higher leagues, can make a big difference.
Yeah,
having unique talented players.
I'm just trying to think about my mindset when I purchase players, And when I purchase a player who's like 24, 25 years old, my mindset at the moment is I purchase them at this value to hold them till they retire. That's how I currently view my agency. I should have said this like 15 minutes ago. It would have been far more useful for the listeners. But if I pay a player who's 24, if he retires at 32, that's 8 years. I've got him for at least, I think is it like 7.8 or 6.9 seasons? No, 8.9 seasons a year or something like that, a calendar year. If I can buy a player who's 80 rated now, who fits my squad in the Wyverns, I will run him into the ground until he retires. That's my plan with those players, and then basically buy a player who's 24, 25 again, swap till retirement, wait till that. Hopefully, during that planning piece, I've either got lucky in reward packs, impact jobs, or done the piece I've been doing for the last couple, last season or two, just raising funds through selling reward packs to go towards buying those players. That was fun.
So that's also a bit the sustainability. That was my next planning.
Because that's my biggest thing. Yeah, that's my biggest thing for MFL. I want to play it sustainably. If the Wyverns get relegated because they're not good enough, and Jimbo as the owner's not investing more money, I'm going to let that happen. I will let them get relegated and then come back up again through progression or through getting lucky in a pack or finding great value on the marketplace. I will not buy my way to stay in a division. I don't want to do that. I've not got the facilities for it in the first place, but I don't want to do that. Sustainability is like my number one concern in my agency. Is like, how do I have 3 teams sustainably? So that's why I buy a player, have them to retirement. I buy players I need rather than I want, and have that always in the forefront of my mind.
Yeah. Well, that's a really fun challenge also too. And it's also, so for me, I've taken out all the money I put in initially. So now I'm kind of playing in this for free mode, and you try to maintain the same level and keep sustainable and keep all your teams where they are and keep growing, expanding your agency. So that's a really fun challenge, and to be in that place. That also gives, we just talked about Hertha, right? Kind of worrying about all the investments, like we are totally zen. And then the challenge is, can you keep it up? Can you be sustainable? Can you maintain this level? So I think, you have 2 routes. What you said, like the buy them and let them play out and then get a new guy, or be very active with trading and selling all the guys, buying young back. Do scouting very well to get a bit of a progression edge, maybe, that you can get better and better players like that and sell them for more and then reinvest again. That's also a fun challenge to play.
Yeah.
But I think everyone is just combining a ton of tactics.
Yeah.
And that's really sticking to it, and kind of, in 1 year you really are going to be confronted with this. And right now we're just kind of experimenting what works, I think, so far.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's 2 bikers have just gone screaming. 3 bikers gone screaming past the house. Sorry, folks. Usually it's Calvin with the train, bikers. Usually it's Calvin with his train, or a police car or something like that. But no, it's the rural bikers of Norfolk sending it down by my house. Definitely doing more than 30 miles an hour, speed limit says. But you know what? I've not got their number plate to snitch on them. However, coming more onto the topic and coming back to the pod. Taking a page out of your book there, Calvin, bringing us back to topic again,
exactly.
Keeping us down the straight and narrow. Let's roll back to Profound Soda and his Legos will drop in price. Do you have any predictions or any thoughts on what the marketplace will look like in like 8 seasons time? Not financial advice, obviously, whatever's going to be said here, but I guess a little bit depends on the growth of the game. We've obviously got the Redemption Cup, which I think has got like 60 odd people in, or I think, is this the second one, or is it only one of the...
Well, 36 in the first one. I don't know if there is a second one.
There's 66 in this one. Yeah, there's 66 in the second one.
Okay.
Which is quite nice.
But that is like, there's a couple of factors, right? You need, when you're long-term planning, you need to think about a couple of factors, such as market prices. And just in general, will MFL still exist? Right? You also never know about that. But we totally believe in that MFL will keep existing because people love football management games, especially if it's multiplayer. And we know it's amazing with real managers, real economy, a really fun challenge. So I think the product is there. Team is there. No other investors, no push, no... Just great team. So I believe totally that MFL will keep steady, kind of growing steadily.
As long as pack drops sell out in under a minute, I think we're fine.
Yeah,
that's probably the biggest indicator of like demand, as if pack drops. And I guess maybe that might,
Yeah. So in my long-term planning strategy, I just assume and I believe and I trust in that.
Trust the
at least the prices won't drop too much. Or kind of maintain a steady level. If enough people join and the supply gets a bit bigger, but enough people join to soak it up, I think prices will remain pretty stable, right? So yeah, I don't buy profound theory that like Legos to 200 is like really ridiculous. I don't know what got into it.
I would have thought, if anything, Legos would become more expensive because we're going to have that cohort of players that were at some point, just say in 10 seasons time or by season 14 or whatever, who will retire, that those players were acquired through buying legendary packs, which obviously now the only way to acquire legendaries is through reward packs or getting an upgrade, because legendary distribution has dropped significantly back between season 3 to season 4, right?
We had this big change. Indeed.
Big change. So if anything, those upper rarities like rare, run, and legendary, in theory, should be more scarce once those older ones get sifted out of the ecosystem. So I would have thought legendaries, not financial advice, would go up in price. Everything remains equal now.
Yeah.
Those ones should, but I don't know how some of these agencies like Ron John, who I don't even dare load his agency up because I can't, because it just takes so long because of how many players he's got, and other people like Trust, etc., how they're even considering planning for, I guess some people as well, just open a load of reward packs and just hope it.
Yeah, I think it is
regenerates
just keep opening tons of common packs, and then you always have the kind of the quantity approach. I think that's usually when I talk to people about it. Like, you can do either quantity and just rip tons of commons, and you'll have progression wonders in there. You can fill your teams with it. You can have kind of keep farming MFL a little bit. And I think what I do more is quality. That I try to do some scouting, like what I think are progression or that are undervalued players, buy them, develop them, and maybe do some progression harvesting sometimes. So in terms of this, so we kind of had, like, from a club point of view, agency point of view, sustainability point of view. So the most interesting one is a profit financial point of view. What I try to do is kind of what Dutch clubs do in general. Right, you try to scout, usually in some Scandinavian, Eastern European country, you scout talents.
Yeah.
You buy them and then you sell them for way too much money to Premier League clubs. I think I try to replicate that, but then in MFL, by just spending a lot of time on the marketplace, knowing the market well, knowing which players are undervalued, buy them and try sometimes to do big sales and to harvest the progression or... and then kind of grow, get value from there.
Yeah, I think there's something...
And reinvest it and keep growing. Kind of.
There's something about there you said which I want to highlight on is like sort of knowing the marketplace. And I have like 3 or 4 filters up in the marketplace at specific levels for particular groups of players, particularly overalls and ages. And for the last like 5-6 weeks, I've almost like studied those filters to get an understanding of sort of like what is the I look every day, just look at those filters once a day, bang, bang, bang. Let's have a look at the newest listings, what they're priced at. Let's see what's been sold. Let's have a look at the lowest price on there. Because then when those opportunities do arise for finding players at good value, you know what to look for already. There's been a handful of times, imagine happened to you as well. We've seen a player on the marketplace. You've gone to do some research to see if it's good value. You found out it's good value. You come back to buy the player, and someone else has already realised it's good value and bought the player before you. Yeah. But if you know it's good value from the off, then that really helps. So yeah, getting familiar with the marketplace. Like this. I was going to say something about a quote from the financial markets, but it's completely irrelevant. But I think it still fits regardless. But I'm not going to say it.
Well, just say it.
I was going to say it's not timing the market. It's time in the market, and I'm going to use that now. Just say it's not like just picking your day to go on the marketplace. It's being in it, not buying every day or selling every day, just being in it and seeing what the prices are like to get an idea of how to navigate your way, how to pick up good deals. And especially if you're doing it from like a trading point of view, which I'm trying to think.
Yeah, it really helps to spend time in the market because there's no progression filters, right? As you cannot see who progressed a lot. So that's a lot of manual work, right? There's no tool, I think, where you can see all the progression wonders and just buy them. Or is there?
Does that plugin do it? The Chrome plugin? I've never used it.
I don't know. Me neither.
Oh, if it is, then maybe we should be using it.
I think it's fun to reward people who spent.
I'm exactly on the same boat as that as well. Yeah. It'd be nice if it was easier, but it pulls away. It retracts on people who were putting in the effort anyway to, give themselves an edge in that sense.
But so you just have to manually check all the progression. And then do some filters, check who progressed the most, and then kind of, do some progression scouting like that. And then there is value to be gained. And I think then you can kind of take out that value, harvest it, and reinvest it, and do the same and repeat. I think that's a bit how I try to get it.
It's
very
like,
simply said.
There's a centre-back which Bosco keeps listing, and he keeps bringing him down in price. And I keep seeing him bring it down in price. He's just brought it down by another $20 now. And I'm always like, oh, do I message Bosco and say, am I interested in this? But because I'm checking the marketplace constantly, like once or twice a day, I'm noticing him bringing it down. He's in my watch list as well, which ironically I don't look at my watch list barely ever. Even though I put them in there, I don't look at them. I use my watch list to basically see if I click on a player, have I already clicked on that player before? If I don't see on his profile it says removed from watch list, I know he's a new player on the marketplace for me. But so I go back to topic about profit and financial gain. Obviously we will say that MFL is play first and foremost for fun. I think you would be lying if I guess if you're a new player, I can imagine one of your priorities is probably getting to a point where you've not got to worry about putting money into the game. I think you said earlier that you've got to the point now with Warren and you're playing for free essentially.
Yes,
I feel like if you could have fun but also achieve that, then you're doing a pretty good job at playing MFL.
But for me, also that is the fun. Part of the fun is finding those undervalued players and let them grow for a couple seasons and harvest them. That is for me fun. And then try to find the next undervalued, underrated progression wonders. So and some people, for example, like those like wingbacks. People hate wingbacks, right? A lot of people don't use wingbacks. But then I bought a 82 wingback fresh out of the pack, like 24, for like 160, and he had a left back as secondary position. So I'm like, that's actually a left back, that's a really good left back for fresh out of the pack for the money. So for me, that's instant buy. Or if you see, if you know that what I said of the goalie I bought, goalies are kind of special. We all need two good goalies at a high level, legendary goalies. I had a quiz question. There's only one ultimate goalie. There's like the rest is all like worse. So for me, then that's value. So you just need to know it a bit, Yeah, that's for me fun, right?
Mm.
To kind of then grow your agency like that without putting more money in, just reinvesting that. But yeah, how to plan long term for that, for profit? It's multiple ways again.
I think if we were to conclude our conversation here, Calver, it's that we've made an episode about long-term planning, and at the same time, all we've realised is that on a personal level, we are really poor at long-term planning, because it's quite hard to talk about.
This is more like just we need to do it ourselves, so we kind of share with everyone how we are now thinking about it, and that's like, yeah, it helps to talk about it. So also talk with people about it, and it's good. What would like to finish? What would you say is now like a takeaway, like for you, that you think like, oh, maybe I need to think more about it or do more?
Cool. A key takeaway. Because there's so many ways to play MFL, though. You know, like I play with the intention of buying a player and basically having them till retirement, and planning for the worst case scenario. And making sure that if he does retire, I think that's the easiest way to look at it. If you buy a player, assume they retire at 32, and you plan around that scenario. So if they do retire at 32, it's not a surprise. And if they don't retire at 32 and it's 33, you've got an extra season to plan more when he does retire at 33. I think that's the simplest way to look at it, and the less stressful.
Yes.
I guess arguably the other side is less stressful, is just sell them before they retire. Well, they get the retire notice, because I guess that's when their sort of value does depreciate quite a bit. But
yeah, I like that mindset. I think that's good. Just assume at 32 they're all retired, and then try to make sure you get your MFL in some way back, or just let them work with that info. I think that's a good takeaway. What's another takeaway? I think it's just there's many unknowns, but yeah, you gotta have some kind of idea or policy of what you're trying to do. There's multiple ways, also multiple goals people have. Depends on your goal, I guess. Is it more about your club success? Is it like profit angle? Is it sustainability angle?
Because some people won't care that they aren't sustainable. Some people will care they want to be sustainable. Most people, I imagine, will want to be sustainable whilst also making a financial gain and performing well. And I think those two things are pretty tricky to do unless you somehow get lucky in packs, or without sacrificing one of them.
Yes, I think also a good thing to do is like backwards design. So you just say, okay, in 1 year, like what do I want to have achieved or accomplished? How can I get there? And then work backwards like that. How can I get there? I think it's a bit in lesson planning. It's like at the end of the semester, they should do this, and this. How can I get there? Step by step through scaffolding and whatnot. So if it's like, I want to, for example, for you, Wensum should always keep performing at a high level and maintain this overall squad. How can I get there?
Yeah.
And then plan for that, make decisions.
Who knows where we'll be in a year's time, mate? Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? We don't even know what retirement
It was
looks
kind of
like.
a MFL therapy session for both of us. Thank you for being part of that. But yeah, we still don't know in a year what the prices can do. That is the beauty. A lot of retirement, a lot of unknowns, which makes it fun and challenging.
Yeah.
So but I'm ready for it. We're slowly getting ready for it.
I think as well as us having this conversation between us two, we want to know either in our Discord, on Twitter, or on the YouTube, if that's where you're watching it. What are your plans for the long term with regards to your agency, your squad, your clubs? Are you actively planning for the long term, or do you have a very short term mindset and you're constantly, your long term is made up of lots of short term time frequencies that you said earlier, Calver, you do a bunch of things, but you hope you're going to constantly do a bunch of things in a long chain. So you never really have to think about it as long as you keep that momentum going with the whole process you've got. But yeah, let us know, folks, what your plans are. If you have any plans, do you have plans? No plans?
Or no plans, just for fun. Just play it.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah. Well, I hope this has been useful to the folks.
Yeah. I think the main thing is just trying to activate some thinking about, long term. And we have work to do. Yeah, everyone has work to do. But it will be really fun challenge. I mean, to get there.
Yeah, like we could be at least 8 seasons away from mass retirements, but it's a calendar year away. And this time last year, we were like season 0.6 or something like that. So we've had, time goes quick, and I think it's worth thinking about. Especially if you're like myself and you have players till they retire, or you sell excess players. I think it's worth just having your mind set on that. Or is long-term planning just redundant? Is it always just constant short-term planning? You never know. Well, let us know. Anything else, Calva, before we tell our beautiful listeners what this week's hashtag is?
No, I think I think we've covered enough. We said what we wanted to say. Again, a little bit of rambling, but that's good sometimes.
Up the ramble.
To just let our thoughts flow. And,
ladies and gentlemen, hashtag time. This week's hashtag, as have been the recent few, is going to be an option hashtag. We want to know whether you plan or punt when it comes to your MFL strategy. Are you hashtag plan and you think things through and you think about long-term planning or even short-term planning for your agency, for your clubs? Or do you hashtag punt? Do you just, if you're from the UK, no little toe punt, hit and hope, end of that high school shoe, bang, give it a little toe punt. You hashtag plan or hashtag punt. Calva, what would you be if you had to put a hashtag for this week?
Of course, plan. I just talked about all my plans I have and my kind of, how should I say it, policies. I don't know, policies. It sounds very formal, but there is definitely some kind of plan I have that I try to stick to. It could be better, could be refined, but there is a plan. Okay,
your hashtag plan. I might combine the two in a hashtag punted plan. I've got a plan, but the plan itself might be a bit hairy, and we'll see how it works in about 7 seasons' time. We'll come back next year, folks, see how this all goes. All right, hashtag plan or hashtag punt. Paris, Calva, I'll see you in about 5 days, mate. It's going to be good.
Yeah,
it's going to be good.
See you very soon.
And the next time you hear from us, we will, it may be from Paris in terms of when it's been recorded, so that will be exciting, but we've still got some stuff to do around that. But anyway, hashtag plan or punt. Thank you all so much for listening, and we'll catch you this time next week in an episode of the WenDirk Cast. Thank you for listening.
See you.